if you're a destiny helper, if you're people that is going to help people with their businesses, with their lives, let me tell you, there is nothing as hard as making decisions about life. Like, life is generally hard. So most of the times we are actually gambling. We are gambling about life. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to work. We don't know what's, we see what has worked for others. And if you try to copy, sometimes it just doesn't work for you. And when you do your own thing, you feel like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? But somehow, somewhere, it tends, maybe it works down. Maybe you start 10 things and only one thing actually works. So it's really a gamble. But again, why gamble when there is one that has assured us of a tomorrow? Okay, so that is where we come from, and that is why part of the mentorship is spiritual growth. You interpret it in your own understanding and your own religion, but part of what we do is spiritual growth, because there is no way, spiritual growth is not the only important thing in our lives, but it's the most important thing, that everything else hinges on that, okay? That you will have the discernment to even help. For those of you that were on the call, and I think I want us to be able to dive right into what we want to talk about today. For those of you that were on the call, we talked about praying that God will give you wisdom so that you will know how to help people. Do you know that some of us don't even know how to help our spouses? You don't know how to help your own children. Like, you give birth to them, you look at them and you just don't know how to help them, because they are human beings, they have brains. And sometimes you've never dealt with a teenager who says no to a good thing, and they want to hook onto the wrong thing, and they are willing to die because of the wrong thing. And then you are the monster that is standing in between what they want and their poor, miserable life right now. So how dare you? Okay? And some of those things, when we talk about, and we have already started, when we talk about that our mothers prayed, I don't know where you belong to or which religion, and I don't care which religion you belong to, but there is someone who prayed you into existence, and there is someone who has prayed for your safety, and there is someone who has wished good wishes on you, and there is someone, but in this generation, we have lost the instance that most of the parents no longer even pray for their children. The best that we can do is become sponsors to our children. When you see a bag that has Mickey Mouse, because now we shop online, you send and you're like, I want that one that has Mickey Mouse, because you know your child loves the character of Ben 10, Mickey Mouse, and whoever. And then when you bring it and the child somersaults and they are so happy, you're like, you have nailed it in life. I would rather teach my children to fast a half day and know that, because my life did not get to where I am by giving me everything that I wanted. No. My life got to where I am by sometimes not having the things that I wanted, but getting the most crucial things and the most crucial guidance and the prayers that on which my life has hinged on and has pivoted on for the longest life. Okay? So this year we are upgrading on so many fronts, because part of what we are dwelling on, and we started on the upgrade in December. For those of you that have been following and have been coming here Friday, we talked about upgrading. I don't know if Coach Fiona, you remember, and Coach Lavender. So we've been upgrading and upgrading and upgrading, and we're still talking about upgrading, because this year there are certain things that will not work that worked for you last year. Okay, there are certain things that worked for other coaches last year or the previous years that are not going to work. So even if you follow which coach that talks about Instagram sales, and you think you're just going to look at it that way and do it in your own power, there are things that are not going to work that way. Because how many of us have read that content and watched those videos? Instagram videos telling you how to create trending viral videos. And how many of your videos have become viral? Weren't you? How to get people hooked to your content, and they give you those sentence openers. How many people have gotten hooked to your content ever since you started? So that means there are certain areas of our lives that we must be able to upgrade so that the effect can be manifested in the areas that we want them to be manifested. So that means that, for example, the foundation of the house is very, very important. That you cannot want masape and you're like, oh, I'm going to import these pillars, I'm going to import this gold and place it where. For as long as the foundation is wrong, even if you place how much gold, it will be like putting a golden pin in an animal's nostril. Or giving them earrings, for that matter. Or they say throwing money to dogs. Like, it's not important. It's not important at all. So if we want the front, where everyone is seeing and everyone is operating, to be upgraded, that means there is a back end that we must upgrade in order for the front end to be upgraded. Last year, we still talked about upgrading from the operating systems. I think some of you were around. We talked about upgrading the operating systems. When someone is building a website, they do not come. That is why we have to put down our websites and we say they're under renovation, so that someone in the back end can be able to go back and be able to do their magic, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden put it up. But have you ever seen people who construct websites? Have you ever seen them in the back end? Auntie, I did IT and I failed to practice. Let me tell you, when you look at them, they will not make sense to you. Because there are those signs, there are those what, like you can never read that this is what they are saying. But once he says publish, everything is translated into a language that you understand and pictures that you understand. And so, if you put the HTML, the HTML language in public, everyone will be like, hey, but it has to be translated. So some of us are not waiting for the translation. We are putting ourselves out there and we are like, to whoever it may concern, to know, to say. And yet there is work that must be done when it comes to upgrade. And with upgrade, it means improvement and enhancement. Improvement and enhancement. It doesn't mean go get new things, go get new clothes, go get a new figure. It doesn't mean go start staying in a different place, go get a new phone. We usually laugh about it with Coach Fifi, that she prayed for a new phone. A new phone came and she thought, when I get a new phone, content is just going to flow like that, like that, like that. And she got it and forgot to do content. You get it? As in, it's not about getting something new. So this is about improvement and enhancement. So when you experience advancement, not because you have added anything new, but because you have improved on the old. Because some of us, we were in when we talked about dominate, I think that was my New Year's message. The very first day of the week, it was a Monday, and I talked about dominating. And I said that when eventually I understood that I am the common denominator of all the years I have lived in the world, that means not any year was bad or poor or wrong. There is no year that was wrong. I was the wrong person in that year. So that means I have been a wrong person in so many years. Or I have not made certain decision in so many years. So that means I am the common denominator. So I don't want to hate on a certain year. How many of us have marked years and we're like, year 2022, it was the worst year of my life. As if you are detaching from the year. What could the year have done to you? Like seriously, the year is innocent because apparently we are the ones who decide when is the first and when is the last. China has its own calendar. Egypt, where everyone has their own calendar. So as human beings, we decide when the year starts and when it ends. Mine starts on my birthday and it ends on my birthday. And the thing is, the year is a non-living thing. It does not speak, it does not have a mind, and it does not have a brain. So how could it be the worst year of your life? Just say you made the worst decisions of your life in the year so and so. Just say you kept wrong company for the longest time in that year. Just say I didn't make sober decisions in that year. Or I allowed myself to indulge in depression in that year. Because had you wanted to stop the dip of it, or you would have consulted or gone for help. Or you would have said, you know what, let me drive to Butabika and report myself that, you know what, I don't sleep. I have not slept for the past 6 months, and I think I am not doing well. Please check me and find out what is happening. Maybe they would have given you antidepressants until you would have recovered. Do you get where I'm going?
Oh, yes.
So we are not getting the new you. Those things of new ya, new me. Waesabu kuludedi. Wanji? Wavuddewa. Bakuguze mu supermarket yawa. Wazeyo ne bakuzala. No. We are enhancing the you that has existed so that you will show up in new ways and do new things and do things differently. And that is why we are saying we are upgrading the version Bahati operated on last year. Right now, it's a different. Have you ever seen an upgraded phone? How it works? No, an upgraded app. You know, when an app is not upgraded, or you have not upgraded your app, or what happens is you start getting delays. Like, things are not moving. You're opening WhatsApp, it's blinking. You're opening WhatsApp, it's taking long to load. And then some of us forget, and someone reminds you, but have you upgraded your app? And then that is when we go to store, yes. And then you start, and it shows you that, by the way, the moment you tap like this, it shows you that you have apps that have not been updated. And so you just press update. And all of a sudden, it goes round and it is done. And when you go to WhatsApp, it's like it is brand new. Like everything is rushing. So does it mean you've gotten a new phone? All of a sudden, because WhatsApp does not work, that you're going to get a new phone so that WhatsApp can work perfectly? No. But even the people that created apps knew that these apps will actually need to be updated. So humans think that you will be the same forever. God is the only thing, and Jesus is the same for, years back, right now, and God will forever be the same. But as a human being, if you want to be forever the same, you're slowing us down. Because you're not going, you're not coming out, but you're in the door like this. No. It's like a frog in a pipe. Your water is not coming out to do what? The water is not coming in. It is there. Have you ever seen frogs and how weird they can be and how wicked they can be? Okay? So, and this came to me based on the revelation that God doesn't have to add anything new, but he can do a new thing with the old thing, improve it, upgrade it, and enhance it. Okay? And we believe that there is acceleration after you upgrade. We believe that there is, quantum leaps. We talked about quantum leaps last year, a lot of quantum leaps. That certain things, have you ever seen people, there is someone who told us here, I think it was last week, and it's like, some of these things I've prayed for, but I'm so surprised that this year things are coming very fast. Everything I want, God is bringing it to me. I don't know whether we were here, but someone actually made a mention of that. I was like, no. We were at coffee chat, yes. And someone mentioned that. I was like, can you believe that I wanted to see Bahati, and I said, God, I want to meet that woman. She watched my New Year's message, and she was like, I want to see that woman. This month, I want to see her. I don't know where I'm going to get her. And all of a sudden, she's one of the first comers during the coffee chat, the ladies' coffee chat, and then I sit on the same table with her. And she was like, now, I don't know, am I breathing? Am I dreaming? Am I really seated with Coach Bahati? As in, that was just an example to show you there are certain things that are going to get accelerated in your life, not because there is anything new that has happened, but because you have upgraded on certain things in your life. And in a minute, we are going to talk about some of those things, okay? And I just want us to go to, there is this scripture somewhere in the Bible that talks about, what does it talk about? I want to bring it in its rightfulness. If I quote it wrong, please make sure that it's right. That the thief comes, John 10:10. The thief comes.
The thief comes
not.
but to kill, steal,
and destroy. But that and life and life in abundance. Now, when we upgrade, our life gets to work in the abundance. Because then it's so hard for the enemy now to steal, because you have upgraded. You cannot be corrupted. He does not have the permission to do so. But when we talk about the life in abundance, because we usually read it, and I usually read that abundance and in its fullness, and I would not understand, because some of us think that fullness is about having material things. That fullness is about having good cars, that it's about, you know, living in a posh house, that it's about having a good job. You can have all those things, and guess what? Your life will not be full. So I want us to understand what the full life actually means, because we all need a full life, okay? I want us to understand what our full life is, but before we get the full life, that means we have to have an open mind, okay? An open mind that believes that indeed God can give us a full life. And one of the things that I wrote down here says that you need, or a full life means a storm-resistant life, not a life that is avoiding all the storms. You know, when you're running away from the storms, that is not a full life. But when we say a resistant life, I remember I was showing our graphics person today, I was showing him one of the pictures that I love, and I had not looked at it critically. It was someone's background. And so I wanted to make a background of my own, but I was showing them the kind of color that I want. And when I looked at the picture critically, this person had put cactus in the picture. And when I looked, this person is a motivational speaker, like she does so well. So I had not gone into the depth of the meaning of what it means to actually have the cactus. For me, I saw a good picture. But when I sat down with the graphics with Mugi, he told me, but I think there's always a message. Whatever you want to use, there's a message. And so it dawned on me, I was like, okay, there's actually a message. So I started interpreting the picture for him. I was like, do you know that cactus is a resistant plant? That it can grow even in famine. It can grow even when there's no water. It can grow to the extent, I'll give an example. There is a time Freedom Seekers gave me a gift. Now, you guys, please don't judge me. They gave me a gift. And then this gift, I think that was your era. This gift had a cactus plant. Do you know what I thought? I thought it was a plastic plant. Were you in that? You were in that era, Coach Molly. So I thought it was a plastic plant. I took it. I think you guys used to see it. I used to put it in on my what is it called? The shelves. So I would put it on the shelves, even in my videos. It is there. I will tell you the truth. That plant took 2 years without even water, without anything, and the leaves were still green, and I still thought it was a plastic plant. Until one day, Ariella bumps into my shelf, and it falls down, and I see the roots. Like, seriously. I was like, wait. So, Chinese have upgraded to the level that even plastic plants have roots. Until, like, the leaf broke. I was like, no, this is not a plastic plant. For 2 years, it was on my shelf, and it was green. So do you see what we say by storm resistant? That you do not look, you know, these testimonies of saying, oh, I am so glad I don't look like the situations I passed through. It's possible that you don't look like the situations that you passed through, but tell us about your current situations. Do you look like them? Because we want the current testimony. Because some of us dwell on past testimony. Oh, I don't look like my past, the things I went through. But, nga stress akwe timbi. And I'm saying that by saying I have a full life is when you do not look what you are actually going through. And you don't speak like one who does not have hope. You don't tell them, enakuno tujirimu babiri. Kachino gwoli bulungi olina ne deal nainze sina kye nina nemmere gye ngenda okulya enkya sijirina. And you're like, you know what? Let me make some calls. Let me make some calls. As in, yeah, agenda nesubi. No matter no mugamba, the calls didn't yield too much. Let me wish you well. You will be fine. And sometimes, some people will even go, have you seen people that have, not entitlement, sometimes family? They're like, alina, nayagana buganyo kolachi. Or kutua, because yali muchizibu, they are in need, so they think it's automatic, you must have. Because how can she look like that? How? How can she put on that lipstick? I know, how? But that's the thing, is a full life means that you do not wither because of what you're going through. You are not consumed by what you're going through. He even promises that you will go through the waters, but they will not overwhelm you. That you will go through the fire, but it will not consume you. That he will be the fourth person in the fire, but after you come out of the fire, you will not smell even of smoke. That you have gone, oyese mchikomi ky'omuliro, nete wali ayinza nakunyiriza nti onawunya omukka. Nga all they hear is a nice perfume. They're like, can I perfume uwo mujja wakirabika si wawa no mugwanga? And you're like, oh wange. Kirabika haji yakomyewo naye. Kirabika haji yavudde naye Mecca. Mumanyi perfume z'Abarabu we ziwunya. Oh my God. I mean, those guys, I think they're the best in perfumes. And they don't know that olimuyiya. Instead of buying a perfume, you will go and buy an oil of 10,000 and you will put it on you and you will smell like a chokulia. You will smell like flowers. And bomwita kunagana egunti webanange. Ye yagano okuva ku mulembe. Nenga gwoma nyi chokola chi. Gwe ne katonda wo. You're the only one that know. Okay? So, and I pray that the fullness of life will happen to us, not because we have to go through and we should be toiling, no, but the toils are going to be there. That even the wealthiest people have their own toils. They have their own hurdles. But should the hurdles come, that you will not look, otamble mukubongo kontola. You get it? That you will not be like that. That you will give hope. Have you ever given hope to people? Nayenga gochimanye chicho, chocho kusinga goyamba. You even pray for them, and sometimes even what you have, you give to them. And you're like, you know what? I am bad muyiya and I will figure it out, but this person, I don't think they can figure it out. So let me give them my last card and I go. Those things happen, but I want us to know that the fullness of life, because we're talking about the upgrades, and we upgrade because we want to live in the fullness of life. Okay? Number 2, a life with the sixth sense. This one I cannot talk about it enough. The intuition given by God that helps us make sober and better decisions. Because every day every microsecond we make decisions. You don't know how many things have gone through your mind today. You don't know. Sometimes we give up on things without even giving up. Mubuliwo. Like in your head, some people have walked out of their homes, but when their bodies are still in their homes. But in order for you to make a sober decision, it does not take education. So many people are educated, but the decisions they make, now was tunlako, and you're like, nah, yeah. Foolish Galatians, who bewitched you? You get it? And sometimes I have told myself that, you know what, why did I make that decision? But why? Because when the intuition spoke, the intuition is usually small. It's usually, something that you can neglect because it's a nudge. It happens only in your brain. No one else hears it. So you can feel, have you ever seen someone, or I've seen people usually in meetings, and then they omanyi munno mcham mupangulu kufu byagenda okwogera tebiriyo notandika okumusuna. And the other person, and let me tell you, sometimes God brings difficult people in our lives so that he will teach us a lesson. So that we will graduate. Because if we don't graduate from that lesson, there is a retake. You're not going from a hard person going to another hard person. Difficult person jumping from a frying pan to a sigiri. And you're like, Olina Muonye, I walked away from that working environment. And then you go and apply in another place, and you get a job, and the first day you come. Nebakulaga nti the devil you left in the other former workplace. This one has been multiplied. Aliko na amayembe. And then how many workplaces are you going to quit? Wanji? So the sixth sense is the one that taps us down here and tells us, Tomudam, and tells us, don't do this. It's a nudge. Now, a nudge is something that is based on your acceptance or lack of acceptance. So it cannot override your decision. It cannot override your brain. What it does is to give you warning signals. So it gives you a warning signal that, you know what, this battle will not end until you keep quiet. And then you're like, have you ever seen people that argue like they've been arguing with other people, nenga ye arguing with themselves? Because there is another voice telling them, keep quiet, and then he's saying, wah. And you're like, why are you using a lot of energy? They are fighting with what they are hearing inside of them. And the moment you fight the sixth sense a lot, it diminishes and it loses power. The moment you trust it and give it time to speak into you and you actually obey, the louder it becomes, the clearer it becomes. That it keeps saving you each time and it keeps helping you each time. So the fullness of life is not us walking in darkness. Do you know that in your roots, Hajj, you can wake up and you just have a feeling that, you know what, Kankwate Mitiana Road, you can never know that I will get new clients. Nenga, it's just a nudge. You woke up with it and you feel chikule medeko kumutima. How many of such decisions have you made? I think there could be many. And you're like, you know what? This money that I was doing savings and I was doing production, so I was just deciding I use this money. But you wake up with that urge of make a full production, put in everything that you have, and then start selling. And you're like, I've been using 1 ton of this, I've been using measuring things like this, but right now, and then all of a sudden a demand comes from nowhere, and it's all taken, and you're like, I am so glad I trusted my heart. You did not trust your heart. You trusted your intuition and the sixth sense. So a full life means you don't have to knock and bump into things. Bump into people. Do you know that God can even warn you about people? There is a girl that walked into my office and she works at I don't know whether she still works at the Mac office here in Acacia, but she had come for normal session. And I got a word for her, and it was in form of a dream. But when she came, I fought so hard, like without telling her. But while she was moving out, I told her, come back. And I told her the dream as it was. 2 people were fighting, and I think either she in her neighborhood, and she was moving, and an object was thrown, and it nearly killed her. And the next time she called me, she sent me voice messages, and she told me everything, the way you dreamt is how the drama unfolded this morning. And while I was moving out like this, while I was moving out like this, I was caught in the middle, and I remembered what you told me, but there is a gentleman that has been rushed to the hospital because of a flying object, because of 2 people that were fighting. So many times, the accuracy is going to come from, do you listen? Do you take precaution? Because if she had just said, people dream, I told her, I don't just dream. Most times when I dream, I actually see it. There are places I've been at, and I remember I have dreamt this thing like 2 years ago. But right now it's happening like in real time. Like you clearly know that the next minute someone is going to pickpocket someone. And it unfolds, and you're like, do you know, like you're in a trance, you're tongue-tied, you don't know what to do, but you know exactly what's going to happen, who is going to cross the road, who is going to do, what car is going to pass. Like it is detailed like that. But why? Because you've had a listening ear, so these things keep coming to you. Okay, and I don't want to divert, but I want us to, and sometimes our sixth sense will contradict our five senses. Our sixth sense will contradict our five senses. Because twine neulida. Okay? When you see, the sixth sense will see what you cannot see. What you see is that, I mean, this is the object. This is it. But what you don't see is what the sixth sense will be able to interpret to you. What's going to happen after that you do not have the privilege to see right now. For example, what you see before you is a contract that you're supposed to sign. What you don't see is there is a clause that was put into that contract that will have you losing all your money. So while you're holding the pen, as in, you feel the hesitation. You put it down. You converse a little more. You put it down while the other person is only thinking, I wish, let him sign. Ono mumazi. God does not just kututekayo bwerere batumale just like that. You get, he does not just expose us, because the people that would have wanted to snatch our lives, to kill us, or the things that would have happened to us, you don't even know how many things you've been saved from. So many things. But while you feel, you're like, you know what, let's meet again tomorrow and review. Maybe let me take it to my lawyer to read it, or let me, whatever it is. That is in a way saving you, because you could not see it with your eye. Because have you seen the pamphlets of contracts people drew? And how you cannot read every single letter in them. And how they will hide all the dubious clauses in a place where they know you cannot even read. And all of a sudden, they're like, Gundi mulogo. Alabiko mlogo yewa Tanzania. There are people who have told me like that. Alabiko mlogo yewa Tanzania is like, mujemba lago mlogo wange Yesu. When I kneel and pray, my God will actually cover me. He will not just give me away into the hands of the Philistines and whoever it is that wants to tell. No, he will actually tell me whatever they are planning. Okay, so let's go. Supernatural wisdom. Ability to solve problems. Ability to solve problems. And some of these things that I'm talking about, we have seen a glance, but this year they are going to be amplified in our lives. The supernatural wisdom, the ability to solve problems while others are panicking. That, you know what, the economy is not good. You have faith that everything is going to be okay. You believe that your business is going to flourish. You believe that you're going to make it. While others are suffering the same sicknesses, you remember during COVID, and how some people got to a place and said, most people actually died because of fear. Yeah. As in, you're seeing all these things, RIP, you're seeing all these people posting pictures with other people crossed. I don't know whether you saw that. Like, it's a whole family and there's only one face that has been crossed. And then you're thinking, am I the next? And then you're thinking, what is happening? Even the people that you didn't expect to die. There are people we don't expect to die. Do you know that? There are people that we think they are clinchers and the ninjas of this world. So when those people happen to die, our hope goes down. So when it goes down, let me tell you, there is nothing that decreases and kills immunity like lost hope, like fear. Have you ever been in a place where you're like, that flu is going to come onto me, and you didn't survive the night? And then other times, you were like, you know what, I have a busy week, I cannot be down because of the flu, and it is not going to happen. And before you know it, everyone has been sick, you didn't do anything, and you're very okay. Yeah. What changed in both scenarios is your mindset. What changed is you fed your faith and you starved your fear. But when you feed your fear and it becomes big, let me tell you, you even stop seeing normal things. How many people and bacteria and viruses? Because, I mean, CNN had preached the fear, all local media was preaching the fear. People, as in, who dares to count the death toll? As in, isn't that the devil? As in, where you're there, in the whole world, there's a tallying center of dead people in every country. And they report in a timely fashion that every second, that data is updated. Who does that, apart from the devil, who wants to kill, to destroy, and to steal? He knows that if I can't kill you, let me steal the hope. If I steal the hope, I will have stolen your immunity. And I will have stolen your sanity. Do you know how many people separated? How many marriages separated? Do you know how many broken homes existed? Do you know how many children are traumatized? As in, the stealing was at the highest level. Because we give him the permission. Okay? So when we say that, the supernatural wisdom, the ability to solve problems that while others are panicking, you're like, God, you have never let me down. And you're not about to let me down. You're like, what is happening? What is taking other marriages? It's okay. As in, I should not be there. Kakati, let me plan. I think mine is going down. I think mine is, I don't know why, but God has denied me the right to panic. And I thank him for that. Like, you will never find me panicking. I don't know whether it's a strength or it's not a strength, but panicking, never my portion. And I've been through the worst of the situations where I would think, maybe another person would think I'm not bouncing back from this. But even then, my mind that amplifies the fear is seared. So I only have one option, and one option, to believe in God. And I'm like, if you show up, well and good. If you don't show up, well and good. What am I going to do? There is nothing I can do in my own strength. There are certain things there is nothing you can actually do. So that supernatural wisdom, operating with a degree of expertise and insight that didn't come from just education, that's sitting in class and someone telling you that this is what you ought to do, this is how you ought to say it, and this is how you ought to perform. How many of us believe there are things we didn't learn in class, but we are performing so well and we are doing so well in so many areas of our lives? Now that is the full life. Because if God based on what we were taught in class to sustain our lives, that is too little. Bakusomesa nyungu ya mawe agenda kugasachi. American prairies. Simanyi plasha, simanyi banange nwebyo okubijjukira nkoze kyamaanyi nnyo. Ngoni, chaka chaka, Zulu. How they had double-sided spears. How they used to eat people. Where is that going to help you from? But the supernatural wisdom comes only from God. And he says that if you lack knowledge, ask from me, who gives it generously. That means he's not a segregator of persons. He does not separate who is who, aberawa, avawa. Some of us we would not have deserved. Let me tell you, if God yali apima, nga apimira ku bavawa, ani abazala, bali connected how, bali, let me tell you, my family has no single connection, like zero connection. Sina gwe nali mmanyi nti mama wange alina omukulu gundi gwamanyi, nti oba alina oba tata wange alina headmaster gwamanyi. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, like we had zero correct connection. It was about us and our poverty, face to face. So if God was measuring wisdom according to where you come from, who you know, and how connected you are, where would I be? But God gives generously to all. Those that, as just like he says that, food is not to the strong, that the rest is not to the swift, but chance happens to all. That omusana gwe gumo gukwakira gwe gunjakira, enkuba yemwe kukuba nange yenkuba, as in amagezi atuwadde obwongo tewali gwe yamma n'agamba nti ono muwadde bwongo bwa bbulu, ono muwadde butonoko, ono muwadde bungi. Ffenna yatuwa obwongo. Ffe tusalawo ne tubukekkereza oba ne tubukozesa. So, you pray for a full life. I want you to be able to pray for supernatural wisdom. And then the next is sensational relationships. God does not call us into perpetual misery, into our lives being drained by those that he has positioned in our lives. What he expects is that you will uplift each other, is that you will help each other, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a work relationship, whether it's a friendship, whatever it is. But for as long as it's a relationship, he wants us to thrive in relationships. He wants us to thrive. So if you're praying for a full life, and if you want to upgrade your life to be upgraded, one of the areas that is going to be so vivid that an upgrade has happened in your life, just like WhatsApp and the updating and how the app worked so fast, is you're going to be able to reposition people accordingly. That there are people you're going to reposition further away from you, and there are people you're going to reposition into the inner circle. And that is the wisdom that God gives you, the supernatural wisdom, to know that, oh no, I need to lock them out of my life. Totally, there are people that you need to walk away from. There are people that you need to let go of. And then there are people that, however bad they are, you need to extend them grace. So to differentiate between the two, you need wisdom. And that's the full life. Otherwise, you will make mistakes. Like there is someone who was telling me recently, and telling me that there were 5 people that were telling him that, you know what, if I knew what I know right now, if I knew it 5 years ago, I would never have chased away my wife. Like so many people have regretted divorce. But why? At the time they were making the decision, they made an emotional decision. They did not look at the whole picture of why they were actually making the decision. And that is the wisdom that we say. That certain people, it's possible that person has hurt you, but you need to extend them grace because you're going to need them in the next level of your life. That is why abantu abamu bajja ne baseka amagye mu lukufu nga amaze okutegeera nti nakukola ki? Nakusamba. Ate now, I need you, and now, kakati, now you have to explain. Now, you know, now the other time, you know, I was not understanding properly. I don't know whether you have seen people who do that. And it's so hard to rectify those relationships. So hard. Because then someone will know you're either a manipulator, or will know that, by the way, you're not right in your mind. You're very emotional. And by the way, if you're dealing with someone who is very emotional, you better deal with them at a distance. And you're like, you know what, let me go slow. Because then you don't know. Eberanga keso oluchange enkoko y'omutamivu. Bwajanga yatamidde nnyo nga gisamba nga gamba tujifumbe. Azinte yetaga kulowooza lwakuba ali emotional. But ayinza okuba gyafumba ng'ebadde egenda kumamira amagi sobola okufuna enkoko endala. You get it? So relationships are so crucial in our lives. So crucial in our lives. And God wants us to have those sensational relationships. Okay. And second last, I will talk about full life gives you more strong restraint, not to involve in self-sabotaging behavior. Self-sabotaging behaviors. More restraint. Now, some of us think a full life is about having, you know, everything. Nga bwe twagambye. But without, I am just giving you the pillars of what it looks like to have a full life. A person that has self-control. You know, we talked about the gaps, and every beginning of year we talk about the gaps, the growth gaps. The growth gaps, and I sent some of you the list, and those that don't have the list, please, I will send it to you. There are more than 20 or 30 growth gaps. Now, those growth gaps is when you check and say, okay, do I have the discernment? Do I have the discipline? And if I have it, to what magnitude? But if it's 0 to 10, do I have 3 out of 10, or do I have 8 out of 10? Because some of us, we have very huge growth gaps that for everything that is on that list, you have 0, you have 1 out of 10 or 0 out of 10. And you're like, when it comes to patience, now when and you're like, I'm not a patient person. You look at self-restraint and discipline, and you're like, you know what, in discipline, I am bad. But the growth gaps are supposed to close the distance between where you are and where you want to be. So if we want to have a full life, that means if one of the things that we need is the restraint, that is the discipline, that it's a growth gap that we must be able to allow to grow in us. We nurture it. It doesn't grow by itself. So when you see the next time where you need to control yourself, you're like, you know what? Self-control. I need to be able to control myself. I don't need to be self-sabotaging. Yes, I know that they've not treated me so well at this workplace, but I should be able to remind myself that company is here, jaja wange. I should be able to remind me no one is here to be employed to treat me well. No. They are here to push targets. So if they're pushing targets, some of them are going to use bad language because they don't know how better to do it. Nabo bakule wabwe baba tulugunya. Just imagine, oli akuze bamugobogolera. Aze ye boss, kati omusubira muki. Mbu agenda ku whisperinga. Ntigundi nno, deadline enetera. Mwenno mbalabe. But if you don't hand in your work before the deadline and you're like, wabangu badde chituli bantu bakulu. But the thing is, agenda kubiwulira. Some people, as in, manage, and it gets to their head. Why? Restraint. Restraint. Ngalabe emotoka endala zonna ezabalala. So do not self-sabotage, and this is going to help you successfully manage your success so that you don't destroy yourself as you build more bigger things. As you build more empires, as you build more businesses, you don't need to sabotage or to kill what you have in order to build. You need to build on what you have. Some of us are starting afresh every time. You go to another place. Have you seen church transplanters? They are transplanting themselves. But not because eventually. You get it? It's genuine. You also need the spirit of discernment to know that I am not going to grow in this place and I need to commit to another place. But you know the transplanters, mafuta, and they will go to another place. Modern. And then they will go to another place. I don't know whether it happens to mosques. Yeah, to mosques. But as in, so you are sabotaging everywhere you go. You are sabotaging, but you expect that you are actually growing. You're not growing. You are stunted. You are stagnant. You're in the same place, going around in the same pond, thinking you're making headway, but you're not making headway. Have you seen people that start businesses after businesses? You start this one, and it's like people who create fires. You create a fire, and no nekazikira no gena no kumake walala. No kumake walala. Instead of saying, you know what, maybe one impeo, you know, abaina masiga, twaberanga no bubati obwo bwe twatekangako. You people don't know my life. Twaberanga no bubati obwo bwe twatekangako kusaidie neve impeo. So that tezikiza muliro. Ate no manya, you're not going to start with the big firewood, but you're going to have the small ones so that they can catch the bigger one. Ojiteke kunguru, you're being surprised. Surprise! I have done it all. I have fetched water on my head, jerry cans, until I felt I was going to get to not grow. I thought I would remain short. So, but you realize that person, wanatewaka bulungi. And then, because some of them are not inbuilt or they are not hinged in the ground, then you transplant them and you're like, masiga kanga teke wano. So instead of putting a barricade for the wind, because there is going to be wind everywhere. So where are you going to start a business that will, that all of a sudden, it will be multiplication and increase and smooth running and everything will be good? No. Sometimes you're going to pray mukama wachiri customer mwaje. And then in a janga na yala muzanga wasting obudde no gamba kama mpamagezi mukwate bulungi bwagenda leme gamba balala 10 ntoyo mukazi ayine mpisembi ate olusi ne bajanga you're off the mood naye nga bakugamba jayo biri, and let me tell you, after you have worked long enough in a boutique, you will know who has come to waste your time and who has not come to waste your time. From just looking at them, you even smell them before they branch and you're like, mukama oyo tachama wano. I have ever worked in a shop. And I would know that person agenda kunte esako housing kusimu. Like 4 different housing. Ayagala ya papa, ayagala ya blue, ayagala ya silver, ayagala ya black ayoka. And then I'll be like, Mokamoyo mutwale. But the thing is, you want your business to grow. So you have to have that self-restraint. Omanye chintu ekikukugira gamba nti awo toyitawo. Toyogera bingi. You know? Tolangira. Don't do this. Why? Because there's preservation that God wants to. Because you need to have a full life. And you can't have a full life when you're always self-sabotaging. Okay? And that is wisdom. And we need to win in multiple facets. Winning in multiple facets. That's a full life. A full life does not demand that there is only winning mulundi gumu. And that is why some of us feel bad when others are climbing, that we want to actually pull them down. Because we think we cannot all win. But a full life is one where you celebrate other people's wins. You're like, if she is winning, I am winning. We are winning. And even if I don't feel like I am winning, what good is it in jeopardizing? What good is it? It's not, okay? So you can still be productive, and according to the things of the world, apparently some of them you have to choose. And some people have been told that, you know what, if you choose marriage, forget happiness. I said no. I am taking both of them and shaken together, pressed down and overflowing. I can't choose one. I want a happy marriage, not just a marriage. I told you I was going to get married before I got married. And there, because of desperation, I was choosing marriage without. Until God banged my head back into the right place and told me, watch out, self-restraint. Linya kuchawa kati. And let me tell you, if I was driving 180, I don't know what or past what, the way I stepped on the brakes caused accidents. It did. In the actual sense, it did cause accidents. Because everyone was everywhere like a headless hen, contending on my behalf. Why she's doing this? Why we have already done this? We have already done this. And in my heart, I was like, Mujja kuba bulungi. Mujja kola chi? Mujja kuba bulungi. And then my mother called me. I was like, choyagala, chenjagala. And I was like, gutuna tambulanga fenna. Tugende. I like supportive mothers. They are like, Chichi, what your boss says, it's so, that's okay. That's okay. But the thing is, you need to win in multiple facets. You don't just need to win in one life, that now you're so productive, but you don't have peace. That now you have money, but there is a headhunt on your head. Someone wants to kill you. Is that winning? That's not winning. That you're maximum health, good weight, nice everything, but you're poor. No, my friend. I am going to be wealthy, I'm going to be beautiful, I will be in a happy marriage, I will produce, very beautiful and wise children. I will have it all, and it is possible to have it all. If you don't know anyone that has had it all, look at me. And yet, I am just growing in God's favor and everything. So no one should tell you otherwise. No one should tell you otherwise. Seasons happen, things can go upside down and everything, but let me tell you, we will never be disappointed. We will never be given away just like that. Okay? So I need us to have open minds. Open minds so that we can be able to conquer in this year, to win in this year. Look at everything you didn't achieve in 2023. Okay? Look at everything you had to endure. Look at, we didn't arrive, as I close, we didn't arrive into 2024 to settle. I didn't arrive in 2024 to settle. If God gave me life and I watched the fireworks and I crossed into the next year, it doesn't matter whether I crossed crawling or running or flying, it does not matter. But I did not start on Nyamu 2024 to settle. No, I am not settling. Okay? So we sowed in tears, but we are going to reap in joy. The weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So this is our morning. 2024 is our morning. We are going to rejoice and be glad in this year. And let me tell you, like I told Coach Fifi, big things are going to happen, and they're going to happen fast. Big things are going to happen, and they are going to happen fast, at a speed that you didn't know, that you have never seen anyone's things happen. But God is going to bring that swiftness of the peace of mind, the swiftness of productivity, the swiftness in making sober decisions and good decisions, in bringing good people into your life, in elevating you and accelerating you. I believe that, and if you don't believe it for yourself, I am believing it for you. Because you cannot be here and say, I rub shoulders with Coach Bahati and say my things are slow. No. They are not going to be slow. On your behalf, they are going to, to go faster, faster. I love you guys. Bless you, bless you.